In a small village cradled by ancient woods, there lived an old carpenter named Elias. His house stood at the edge of the Forest of Echoes, a place whispered about in stories and half-remembered warnings. People said if you spoke into the trees, they would echo your words back days later, warped with truth. Elias was known as a quiet man, one who smiled little and spoke less. Decades ago, he'd lost his wife and daughter in a storm when their boat capsized in the lake near the forest. Since then, grief had settled over him like dust on unused wood. He never entered the forest. A child had gone missing, Anna, the baker's spirited daughter, and though search parties scoured the woods for hours, no trace was found. At dusk, as everyone prepared to leave and hope began to dim, Elias took his lantern and quietly entered the Forest of Echoes. No one followed. The trees were thick with silence, not just the quiet of night, but a pressing, pulsing kind. The forest listened. Elias knew the stories, that it repeated your fears, your regrets, and sometimes, your truth, whether you were ready or not. He walked until the path disappeared and called out softly, "Anna." The forest echoed back, "Anna." Then, without warning, a different voice answered, younger, familiar. "Papa?" Elias froze. It was her, his daughter's voice. His breath caught, and the pain of years boiled to the surface. But he didn't respond. He knew the forest could lie, could play tricks. He kept walking. "Why didn't you save us?" The voice called again. He stopped, unable to move. "I tried," he whispered. The forest waited. Then, softly, it answered, "We know." And silence fell again. He kept walking. Then he heard it, a real sound. A soft cry. Beneath a fallen tree, Anna curled like a frightened animal. Elias dropped to his knees and embraced her. They emerged from the woods just before dawn. The villagers were stunned. "Why did you go in there?" Anna asked. Elias paused and said simply, "Because someone needed to." But after that night, the villagers noticed a change. Elias began speaking more, laughing, sometimes. He helped build a new bakery for Anna's parents after a fire. He taught the children how to carve small animals from driftwood. And when the wind was right, he could be heard humming a lullaby deep in the woods. People still speak of the Forest of Echoes. But the story changed. They say it's not a place of fear, but of truth. That if you're brave enough to enter, it won't show you what you fear, but what you need.